Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I'm not where I used to be, and I'm not where I want to be? I'm somewhere in between, and I don't really know how to feel about that. You don't feel like your old self, you're not quite the new self that you envision, and it feels like the middle. If you understand what I'm saying, you understand. If you know, you know. You have big goals in mind and you're leaving behind the past. But in this moment, you're in the middle. Let's talk about it. Ride with me while we discuss hot topics, share information, and just have fun conversations. Drive and thrive. Being in the middle might be one of the hardest places to be. You're not as close to the old self as you used to be. You're not able to touch the new self, to grasp it and just completely embody it. You're kind of closer to the new than you are to the old, but close enough to the old to still remember it. It's not a great place to be, if I'm being honest, because that's where I am. I have a lot of big things boiling, a lot of big pots going, a lot of things happening, but they're all in the middle stage. And I got to be honest, for a couple of weeks, I kind of went through a slight sadness. And it's a bit of you miss the old you where everything made sense and it was comfortable. And you're impatient for the new that you're trying to accomplish. And the middle is hard. The middle is where the work happens. And no one talks about that. And really, no one wants to. You just grind your way through it. And the expectation is you just get to the end without having to have these conversations or talk about it. But I figured if I feel like this, someone else feels like this. And as you know, a big part of my channel is touching the person who doesn't feel seen and speaking to the people who feel like, oh my God, that's me. So there has to be someone else who feels like this if I feel like this. The world celebrates beginnings and ends. There's plenty of videos and information about the before and after. That's huge. And honestly, I was tempted to make my channel about that. A little bit about the before, just enough to give you the story, and then only after. But I don't believe in that. And I'm not knocking, I'm never knocking anybody for what they do, but it's just not how I feel. I believe I always believe if I feel like this, someone else does. And what about those people? Why not tell the middle? Because that's where the work is at. That's where the story is at, in my opinion. So life happens in the messy middle. But that's the part nobody posts. That's the part nobody talks about. You know why? Because there's no answers for it. It's confusing. Nobody talks about it because there's nothing to talk about almost. You would just come across like you're whining or complaining. And I hope that's not what I'm coming across like. I'm just wanting everybody to know that if you're in this space, if you're in this moment in life, I'm here with you. You're not alone. But let's talk about why it feels so strange. Your brain loves certainty. It loves familiar. And this is why you somewhat crave the old you, because it's familiar, and it's a psychological thing you almost don't have control over. You're in this space where your brain just wants you to be satisfied and safe, and so it's telling you just go back to doing that, but your conscious brain knows that that's not serving you. And so you're in this middle space where you're kind of conflicting. Your primal brain and your conscious thought is conflicting, and that causes you to feel some, it's a, for me at least, it's a feeling of confliction. I feel it. And I know that keeping on course is what I want. But in this moment, I feel so exhausted, and all I want to do is have it easy again. And I know that doesn't serve me. I'm not going to do that. and I have such a great group of people. My brother caught that this week, and he stepped up and carried me through this week with his motivation and stuff, and I really appreciate it. And my mom is always there. I have great friends, I have a great support system, but sometimes even with all of that, you still have to reevaluate. And even though you know what you're doing is for the better and that's what you want, it's what I've always wanted. These goals that I'm going for, every single one of them is something I've always wanted. And it's almost scary because I'm getting very close to accomplishing these things, but I'm in the middle and I haven't accomplished them and I don't know how it's going to come out. I don't know the outcomes, and that's scary. And so it's interesting because in the middle you will run towards your goals. You run towards them with so much energy. And I'm a person who I like to have my hands with a lot of different things. So I have a lot of different projects going right now at once. And last week I hit a wall of like, uh-oh, you know, almost what if all of this stuff takes off? What if everything goes the way I want? It's almost more fear of it going well than fearing it failing, because I have this, I feel it's a superpower of optimism, and so I never feel like anything's gonna fail, but I don't expect everything to go perfect. But I have never gone this vigorously towards my goals in the way that I'm doing now. It's a very calculated and thought out way that I'm doing it now, and I'm able to see that this could work, right? And if you are where I'm at, you get me, you feel me. I'm growing out of things. I'm growing out of habits. I'm growing out of routines. I have my notes down here if you see me looking down. I'm definitely growing out of comfort zones that weren't serving me. Definitely dropping old beliefs. Sometimes you'll look around and you'll realize this doesn't fit me anymore. The old life, it didn't fit me anymore. It didn't bring me joy. It didn't bring me purpose. It wasn't bringing me closer to my purpose. And you could either continue down that path, or you could start searching for the things that bring you purpose. There's a train coming, so excuse the noise. I was I was tired of being unsettled. I was tired of wearing a body that no longer felt like me, like I didn't even recognize myself. And in this middle portion of this situation, I thought I would be so much further ahead than I am now. And that's disappointing. It's reality, but it is disappointing. I didn't realize I wasn't prepared for certain setbacks, my time restraints that occurred, and that disappointed me. And I think last week was just me reacting the old way to not being where I wanted to be now. Like 6 months, almost to the day. Yesterday was 6 months to the day that I started this journey. And I'm not where I wanted to be. Well, I won't say that. I'm not where I envisioned myself 6 months ago, but I am so close. I am so much further far advanced than I was 6 months ago. And I needed to be reminded of that. I am moving in a direction that I chose and I'm excited about. And I think your mind just needs a moment sometimes to think about it, to stop and assess that. And it is scary when you have big goals, big things happen, and that's slightly scary because when you have a dream It's a dream, it's a thought in your head, and it's safe and it's protected and it's cuddled, right? And no one can steal it from you and no one can hurt it because it's yours and no one knows about it. But when you put it out there and you see this dream could go or it could go away, and that's up to me. Whatever way, whatever happens, that's on me. I think last week was that moment when I realized that. When I realized, I think you're headed that way. I think it's happening, but it's up to you to completely make it happen. Not that I didn't know that before, but again, if you know where I'm at, you know what I'm talking about. Um, you hit a moment where it's like, oh my God, it's happening, you know? But oh my God, it's happening. It's so weird. And I am past that. So I kind of feel like I'm kind of over the middle a little bit. I'm just passing the middle. These trains are coming like crazy, so I'm gonna keep talking. I hope that doesn't bother you. Um, it's a very interesting process, but I wanted to make this video to tell you, the people who feel me, the people who are here with me in that part, don't stop. And maybe everyone doesn't have someone who can push them and someone who notices you stopped a little bit. Hey, where are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're not as active as you were. And maybe everyone doesn't have that person, and I want to be that person. I so hope and pray that this video reaches somebody who felt like they didn't have that person, and I was that person for you, because this is a pivotal moment in your journey. The moment that you surpass that scary point and you just say, screw it, I'm going, I'm not stopping. In that moment, that's the beautiful part that we'll look back on and we'll say, whoa, I almost didn't get here. And it might take going through this moment and feeling what it would feel like to not move forward to make you move forward. The idea of not moving forward is more terrifying than any moving forward would be, because I'm so invested in these goals that I don't see myself in any other way besides completing them. And the sad part is, guys, most people quit in this space. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that because I think I was at that point where I could have just, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why, but it is this space where you just, it didn't, I don't know the words to put on it. It wasn't overwhelmed. It wasn't, I don't know, but I looked into it and it's the identity gap. And this is where most people quit. And I don't want you to do that. I'm definitely not going to do that. And I don't want you to do that. Keep going and just see it through. Like, what could it kill you? What could it hurt? Right? I don't see where anything negative will come from investing in yourself and completing your own goals. So this is why most people quit during this time, the identity gap, because results haven't fully shown up yet. Your new identity doesn't feel real yet, and your old identity seems to keep calling your name. Come sit on the couch with me. You know what I mean? And you start wondering, am I really changing? Like I said, my expectations of my body, just to use that goal as an example, in December was so different than the reality of it. And you got to deal with it. I mean, I just have to deal with that. I mean, for one, that was That was a concept in my head. It wasn't reality. It wasn't true. It was what I thought in my head I would be doing or looking like at this point. But the reality is, I'm still coming down. I'm still losing weight. My past me couldn't see what obstacles would be in the way on this path. It just saw a clear path to completing my goals. That's not life. Life has obstacles, and I had obstacles. My past me didn't see time change, my ability to do these things changing. That happened. One of the most interesting things I'm learning about transformation is how quiet it is. Nobody wakes up one day completely transformed. It happens in tiny moments. One walk, one better choice, one journal entry, one difficult conversation, one promise kept again and again and again over time. You make these changes, and then one day you look in the mirror and you realize, I'm different. Yeah, I don't think like I used to. I don't do like I used to. I don't react like I used to. But all of those things take time, and you got to be patient. I think the one of the hardest things is to be patient with myself. Comment below if you find that to be true. One of the hardest things, I am so patient with others. I understand that people need time and everything, but with myself, I want it to happen today. I want it to happen yesterday. There's a danger in quitting here at this point. Again, the middle is where most people quit. This uncomfortable point is where people quit because people mistake, oh my God, this is so powerful. People mistake the discomfort for failure. Discomfort often means you're growing. Literally, when you work out, it hurts. It's uncomfortable. But that is growth in action. I believe working out, the feeling you get when you work out is literally growth. Like you're feeling growth. It may be one of the only times in life where you actually feel growth. And so maybe that's how we should think of this. Like this middle, how we feel, that's growth. Like we're feeling the growth, the same as we do when we work out. I'm going to use that. I'm going to think of it that way from now on. This uncomfortable feeling is growth. So, but this is where the courage lives. There is no finish line in this because basically we're probably going to have many of these middles because we're going to reach this goal. Sometimes your first few goals are huge to you now, but once you reach them, you realize how small they are. You start to see how many different directions something can go in. And your initial goal was kind of minute, it was kind of tiny. And you start to grow. So there are going to be a lot of middles, I'm assuming, in my future. I'm going to have a lot of these middles because as I'm growing, I'm seeing so many different ways it can go. And that creates a new beginning, which will create new middles. There's no before and after. There's nothing but right now. And sometimes your right here and nows are not going to feel good. They're not going to feel comfortable. But showing up is our confidence. The showing up and the continuing is our strength. We have to continue before we can be certain. And that uncomfortable feeling is also uncertainty because right now we have a lot of things up in the air. None of them are at the goal, right? So it's all uncertain. Believing in ourselves, believing that what we've put forth is going to work is our courage. That's our courage and that's our strength to believe in this enough to continue. We're not failing, we're transitioning. We're not lost, we're rebuilding, we're becoming. In the middle, we're becoming. And that might sound a little vague. It is, because we don't know what we're becoming. We could say what we want to become, we could think what we want to become, but we're becoming. And let's just live in that truth. So if you're like me and you've been feeling weird lately, you've been feeling disconnected, and you've been feeling like you don't quite recognize yourself right now, I want you to hear this. You're not lost. You're simply standing between two versions of yourself, because transformation isn't an event, it's a process. And the middle matters more than any other part of this process, because again, that's where our courage, our strength, and our power is being born and being formed and being shaped. I love you guys. For whoever in the world is out there and felt like I felt and feel like I feel, and they're in the middle where I am right now, keep going. Make yourself proud. Stand up. Fulfill your goal to the end, because believe me, we're going to have more middles, because we're going to have bigger goals. Get out there and keep it up, guys. Love y'all. Peace.